G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of Comics to Movies and More. I'm your host, Sean Keenan, and as always, I have Stephen here with me. We've got a fantastic show tonight. We're going to talk about Star Wars Rogue One, which, as everyone, if they've watched this show and they can see behind me, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, so I'm super excited. We're going to also talk about Wordsmith, which is just launched, and we'll get into that and show people that a little bit later. So Volume 3 is up on Kickstarter. And we're going to be talking about live launches and how we can use these type of platforms to launch Kickstarters to get people excited about your products and give some couple of tips in regards to what you can do in making Kickstarters or things go live in live launches. So, Stephen, how are you going today?
I'm good. Look, it doesn't matter if it's the first one or your 10th one or whatever. You're still really nervous when you hit that launch button. So, because there's a chance that everyone just goes, you know what? I'm out this time, and it's a lot of look. I think it never changes. Still a lot of imposter syndrome. Like I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this, and I don't think that ever goes away. At least for me, I'm always still very nervous whenever I hit that button.
No, I 100% believe the same thing. I'm like, I don't know why I get like this. Like, I've done enough now that I think that those bugs and those nerves will eventually go away, but it just never happens. I get to that day, even the countdown to the last days of the Kickstarter. We've made over our funding, and I'm still like, oh my god, it's been quiet the last 2 days. What do we do? All that type of stuff. It's like, man, just take a chill pill and enjoy the experience sometimes. So. But we haven't even gotten to Kickstarter yet, mate, and Moira has backed already. So thank you very much. So, and Chris has said imposter syndrome is the worst. I know. So try being live on air with Dan. Multiple times during a week, and think and try and live up to the expectation of just being on his level. So that imposter syndrome is real.
On Star Wars news, though, there's a lot of High Republic stuff coming. Look, I am really, really excited because Mandalorian was a huge success. It basically really re-energized the fan base. And I think the one thing they learned from Mandalorian is, oh gosh, there's an extended universe out there, and I love
people actually care about.
Yeah,
and we actually care about.
Because I think they picked it every time they introduced an element of the extended universe, Ashoka or whatever, into Mandalorian. People went crazy. It's like, wow. And I think, especially High Republic is set previous to all this anyway. I think it'll be great because you can tell a whole different genre of stories. Like, let's face it, the original trilogy is pretty dark. The Empire has taken over. There's only, I think, at the time, probably a handful of Jedi left. You got Ashoka in hiding, Obi-Wan in hiding, Luke's brand new, Yoda's in hiding. You've got, that some of them hidden through the galaxy. But on the whole, it was pretty dark. Like, there is no Jedi. They've been forgotten and all the rest of it. And the High Republic's the total reverse of that. They're all back and people know about them. It's exciting again. And you can start telling a lot of different types of stories that way.
Yeah, and I haven't read it yet because I'm getting my comics delivered once a month at the moment from our local comic book store. So shout out to All Star Comics. Thank you very much, guys. So I haven't read it yet, but I am excited. I've heard people, have been bagging it already because it's, more based around the Kathleen Kennedy based storytelling and everything like that. And we know what she's done with the final three trilogy movies. But I'm just going to hold judgment until I've read it myself. I did the same things when I watched the movies, and I'm just excited that we're getting so much Star Wars, and you got to understand, it's not going to be for everyone. And there are going to be things that you like, and there's going to be things that you don't like, and it's okay to voice that. But I think this toxic environment of where people just bash things and cancel culture and all that type of stuff, that kind of just needs to go. That entertainment is entertainment, whether it entertains you or entertains thousands of other people. That's what entertainment is. And I'm just excited that there's going to be so much more in the expanded universe, and they're slowly bringing back things. Dave Filoni, is a true, what they call a true George Lucas believer, and is stuck very close to his storyline, his teachings and stuff like that. So, there are stuff they're starting to bring back in from what they call the legends or the old expanded universe, and bringing that back into canon. So, I don't know if people have heard other Star Wars news, is that Lucas Games has started up again. So EA has no longer got the Star Wars license.
Went to Ubisoft, if I remember right.
Sorry, Ubisoft. Yep, Ubisoft.
No, EA to Ubisoft, I think. You're right. It was EA dropped the license. I think Ubisoft picked it up.
But they aren't just selling the license this time. Lucas Games is coming back. So Lucas Games are going to be in conjunction with Ubisoft. So they will have that control over. And they've done that before. They did that with the old school Dark Empire games, and that they did it with other different game companies and that type of stuff. But they just kind of had that creative control, a little bit more creative control over stuff. So excited about that as well. So they're talking about bringing having a third Knights of the Old Republic game, which I was a massive fan of. So but we've been
I played a lot of the real-time strategy ones, like Command and Conquer. So I played the Star Wars one, Battlegrounds.
Battlegrounds,
yeah, that's the one I played a lot. But you send all the X-wings all at the same time to blow up their base and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't mind that, but I was more of a first-person or RPG type game. So I like the Assassin's Creeds and all of the Knights of the Old Republic, and then even some of the first shooters that they had with Jedi Academy and that type of stuff as well. So, but we better get into the movie that we're talking about. So, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is the movie we're talking about tonight. I'll let you go first, Stephen. What did you think of this one?
Look, there are holes in it, so I'm going to put it out there. It's not a perfect movie. There are a lot of things that, and if you watch the original trailers as well, you saw they did a lot of reshoots, because there's so many scenes in the trailers which never made the final cut and totally different. Like for example, I think there was one with Jin in dark stormtrooper armor, and that never made the final cut. So you knew they changed a lot of it up. I suppose the one thing I loved about it was, how with Wonder Woman they didn't stick the ending. Rogue One was the reverse. Some bits they didn't stick through the arc, and some bits dragged. The ending stuck. And spoiler, I'm going to give everybody just 2 seconds if you haven't seen this to turn, But I think that's long enough. But the two things I loved about the ending, the first one was everybody died. That was, for a Star Wars film, I think the thing is, I'm not a sadist, but it made perfect sense for them not to, and it was actually a reference. A lot of boffins or something, I think in the fourth movie, died getting this information. And I think the second thing they did was, for the ending, sticking the ending, was the Darth Vader scene, because prior to that, in the main trilogy, Darth Vader was always hinted at to be this absolute badass. they showed glimpses of it. You know, when I think when Han on Cloud City, Han tries to shoot him and he just waves it off and stuff like that. But there was never one scene where, you know what, just send Darth Vader and he'll take care of everything. There was never that one scene, and Rogue One gave that one scene for it. It's just like in Mandalorian, Boba Fett was always shown to be this really huge bounty hunter, and it took Mandalorian to give us that one Boba Fett scene that everybody wanted. And Rogue One was the Darth Vader scene that everybody wanted.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So I guess the funny thing is the major reshoot that they did was and change was the fact that everyone died, because actually everyone survived in the original ending. So that was one of the major changes that they'd made to the film. And I 100% agree. I think it made their sacrifice that much more important. And then flowing on straight onto episode 4, you know, having Princess Leia on the run, and you know them chasing her down. She's like, "Oh no, I'm on a diplomatic mission." They're like, "We know you're not on a diplomatic mission." Those type of things were tied in really well. And my favorite character is Alan Tudyk's, the droid KSO. Yeah, he was just amazing. He gave great comedic relief, but gave such a life to the character that, again, spoiler alert if you haven't watched this, that when he goes down in that final scene, that you're really like, oh man, I don't want him to die, type of thing. And even though he could probably be rebuilt, you really felt for him. So and I loved the idea of having other people that were sensitive to the Force but weren't Jedis. That's always been alluded to but never really shown in live action before. So I liked that as well. And I thought the story, as there were like little holes on it, but I think the last two minutes of that film, this film could have been absolutely horrible, and I reckon 99% of people would have said that it was fantastic. So and then a lot of people make note of the CGI at the end with Tarkin and Princess Leia, but I didn't mind that. I think that's part and parcel of what we're going to see when we've got such an old franchise and we're trying to tell stories within that same era. And then just to touch on the Mandalorian that you were saying, and with Boba Fett, two things about that was that again, spoilers if you haven't seen season 2, just close your ears for a second. The return of Luke right at the end was very similar to how they did the Vader scene, and if you've seen it, I've seen that. It is actually really cool and kind of gives that whole feel again of that father-son resemblance, like that you wouldn't have really seen, but you could see their fighting style, their aggression, the way they used the Force and everything was very similar. I really liked that. And the other thing I was going to say about The Mandalorian was Robert Rodriguez did that Boba Fett episode, and he was like such a fan that he said he turned a 5-minute fight scene into like this massive fight scene, because he's like, we've been waiting for this. People that have followed Star Wars for almost 30 to 40 years. They've been waiting to see Bubba on screen, and he needed to be that good and that kick-ass character. He couldn't just be another Mandalorian, where Mandalorians are cool anyway. I loved seeing them, but I just thought that was fantastic. But I also liked the Han Solo one. I know that got bagged a lot. I didn't think it was nearly as bad as it was made out to be, and I thought that they were actually with that film building up Chewie more, and I thought Chewie was going to have more of a role in the sequel trilogy. Because I was like, oh, here we go. They're making it out that it's about Han Solo, but a lot of the movie has Chewbacca in it as well. I reckon that they're building him up for the sequel trilogy, but I was quite wrong about that.
I think there is one difference, say, between Rogue One and Solo. And by the way, I really enjoyed Solo as well. It was the way they reference the stuff that's coming up. For example, when Han was trying to sneak through, what's your name? Han Solo. You know that scene where he makes up a fake name to get through, and that's how he got the name Han Solo. Something like that. That's a little bit cute, but it doesn't actually add much to the whole lore. I think it's much more. You feel a bit more shoehorned in. While Rogue One, the element they brought in, I thought was brilliant. Like, why, if you would design the Death Star, why would you have a instant detonation point that's accessible by an external external X-wing? Why would you put that in? And you found out it was put in because guess what? He knew he had to build it. He knew he had to architect it, but he had to do something that could sneak through and yet still blow up the Death Star. So I think those writing elements, especially if you're writing something that's a prequel and you need to hint at it, I think that's where I think the prequel trilogy, so the one with Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, some parts were really good in terms of how they reference the past. Like, for example, the C-3PO Anakin built him thing. You didn't need that. That was a bit unnecessary for that. You could have him just be a normal protocol droid which Leia uses or something. It doesn't have to be built by Anakin. It's that fine line when you go, how much do I reference back and how much do I organically build? Look, and I think that's where Rogue One did really well. A lot of its callbacks were done really, really well. And I think
I liked the fact that Anakin built C-3PO because he always says, maker. When he's like, oh no, my maker. He makes all the films. So to actually go, oh, now he's talking about Anakin. I kind of liked that, but I think they did really well with this in the fact of having the two main characters. One being the guy that's Jin's father that's sabotaged the Death Star, but also Jin herself. Both are not rebels, and kind of the whole Star Wars universe is built off the rebels and the Empire, and even prequel it was the Jedi and the Sith. So to have the two main characters out of this that kind of affected the whole universe, not be rebels at all. He was just kind of doing it because he's like, well, they're going to make me do this one way or another, but at least this way I give, whether it's the rebels or the next people that come along, a chance to destroy this. And she really, all she wanted to do was get back to her father. She didn't set out to kind of, be a rebel or a rebellion. And actually she, was like, made that very clear, going, look, once I get my father, we're out of here. We're not sticking around and fighting your war for you. So I really liked that part of the story as well, that, it wasn't an actual rebel person. And then if you like Star Wars and Star Wars Rebels, the one little sound clip of Report to the Ghost I thought was fantastic as well in this movie. So
look, that's what I'm thinking. It's what's going to happen is that's why I'm really, really happy, because look, there's different schools on thought about this one, in terms of Disney buying Lucasfilms. And I know there's pros and cons on both sides, but the fact was that George Lucas, when he sold, he wasn't doing much with the franchise. There wasn't a new film being planned. There was a lot of things that weren't happening. And if it took Disney to accelerate that through, I think that's a good thing, because guess what? There'll be things you don't like. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm a big I'm gonna get her name wrong. Ming Na Wen fan. She's the one at the end with Boba Fett. I love her in Agents of Shield, so she's one of my favorite. And she was actually Mulan. She was the voice of Mulan in the Disney film. So,
Yep.
look, I think she's fantastic. But that series could be horrible, but I'm still, at least it gives us that series. You know what I mean? I'm hoping it'll be great. What's going to happen to it, Mandalorian, after Baby Yoda's not there? But the fact of the matter is, the universe is expanding. And I guarantee you there'll be some series which hit the mark and some series which don't. Look at the MCU, for example. And we always reference back to them. There has been a couple of done MCU movies, and there's been some really spectacular ones. But the fact of the matter is, it's MCU is growing, and you just hope they hit more than they miss, and the universe expands that way. Or if they miss, you take the elements where it wasn't that good, and you still play it off. And I was thinking, speaking of the MCU, though, big rumor. I'm really hoping Charlie Cox stays as Daredevil in the MCU. Did you hear that?
Supposedly, he's been caught filming on the set of Spider-Man. Like, they've actually got photos. I'll see if I can find them while we're on here. You can answer this question from Chris. What did you think of the Star Destroyer crash in Rogue One? If I have to say anything about the sequel trilogy, the Star Destroyer or Death Destroyer blow up scene in The Last Jedi, where it's silent and then it just, where she goes through hyperspace through it, that has to be, I reckon, one of the best depictions of destroying a Star Destroyer or any of those type of really big ships. So
I think it was a dreadnought, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I think this is the one that references in the planet where the ship crashes in planet Rogue One. Look, I think that was done practically as well, and I think that's one of the things that I think the prequel trilogy didn't do enough of. There wasn't enough practical effects, because with CGI tends to age pretty badly as technology advances. Practical effects will always stay practical effects, and that's why I was thinking. You may not like The Force Awakens, but The Force Awakens, it was done very practically. So that's why you saw a lot of the scenes and stuff. It was dirty, it was gritty, and I think it adds to the mood a lot more than too much. Look, I'm not a fan of too much CGI if it comes down to it.
Yeah. No, I can't find the photo. I don't think.
I believe you. I believe you. There's one there, but I'll check it.
Because the other rumor from that part was that they're saying that Jessica Jones is going to show up in the She-Hulk series.
She would work really well with Jennifer.
Like, if she gets herself into trouble, which she always seems to do, she's going to need a lawyer. So to have She-Hulk as her lawyer would be really, really cool. So
because the other lawyer hates her now. What's it? Hogarth.
That's right. Yeah. So she needs a new one. So yeah.
I hope so. And maybe Jennifer needs a PI. So She-Hulk needs her own investigator. She's a lawyer. She's not an investigator. So
that's right. True. It's true.
So
then they won't need Luke Cage. Although I didn't mind him.
But Luke's tied into Jessica though.
Yeah.
So yeah. By the way, and I won't spoil too much for this. Just a small side tangent. Have you been watching WandaVision or not yet?
I have, yes. I've watched all 3 episodes that have been out so far. The first 2, I was like, what the hell is going on?
I won't spoil it. Oh, sorry. I won't spoil it so much, but man, don't you wish WandaVision they dropped all the episodes at once? It just feels like it's. There are certain series it makes more sense, and I would say Mandalorian being one of them, where it's much more episodic. There's still that thing he does every episode. It moves on. But WandaVision is something that you just go, man, why haven't you dropped everything? It actually would have been better storytelling to have everything dropped at once and you just binge the entire how many episodes it is as you go through the different years. Having it split like this, I was thinking, man, you should have just dropped everything. Like Daredevil when they dropped in Netflix the whole lot, and or Punisher when you watch that the whole lot. It's so much better than watching episodically. I was
Yeah.
thinking, man, it's such a shame they should have just dropped every episode.
Yeah, the one thing I was worried with WandaVision was I'm a big fan of the MCU and everything as well, and I'll watch everything. But after those first two episodes, it didn't really hook me to the point where I was like, oh, I can't wait for that next episode. I was almost like, I kind of don't know what's going on. And this is coming from someone that, reads comics and is quite into the comic universe. And I wondered whether just dropping those two might turn people off watching the rest. Because there was a lot of people going, what the hell's going on? I don't understand, type of thing. And it's easy for the or big organization to say, oh, just wait. But then we're so like the not the comic community, but the general audience people that just have watched the movies. They're so used to getting everything in one go, as you said, with Daredevil, with Punisher, with all that. So even if you don't watch the whole season in one sitting, you can get 4 or 5 episodes in and get quite up to date with who the character is, what their story development is, and everything like that. And I was surprised how short they were as well. That was the other thing. I got 25 minutes in, and I was like, oh, is that it? Especially with the Mandalorian being, between that 40 to 50 minute mark, I was like, oh, this is. I felt kind of cheated a little bit. So, look, the third episode was much better, and I enjoyed that much more. But I did wonder whether it was going to turn anyone off, and I'd be interested to know what people in the chat thought about that as well if they've seen it. So,
I was also thinking it's actually better to have it drop all at once because they introduced a lot of new characters. So it's not like a standard MCU movie where there's only 1 or 2 primary characters and they have callbacks. Like say Miss Marvel, you didn't know who Samuel L. Jackson was. You didn't know who Phil Coulson was. You only had like basically about 2 or 3 new characters in there. But this one is like bam, everybody's brand new except for Wanda and Vision. All of them, like Agnes, again, because I've read the comics, you kind of know who she is. She's another magic user, and then they hinting basically everybody. And the lady, I think Geraldine, she was actually what's we call it, the little girl from Miss Marvel who grew up. I don't know if you got that reference.
no, I didn't. I missed that.
So she, how the end Miss Marvel was set in the 80s,
Yes.
and Carol Danvers had a best friend, and that best friend had a daughter. That daughter actually grew up to join Sword. So, but the whole point is because they dropped her name, her real name, halfway through, and it's like, oh god, Google, I've heard that before. You check it, and it is. But because it happened so quickly, and it's like you said, 20-something minute episodes, it doesn't drop onto you. But I guarantee in episode 4 they'll explain it a lot more. You find, oh gosh, that is the tie back to this, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel was set in the 90s too, mate. Blockbuster
90s,
video.
90s.
Yeah. No,
90s,
not
90s, not 80s. Wonder Woman was the 80s, so.
Yeah, well, and I've talked about this on the show before, and I am wearing a Captain Marvel hat at the moment. That the whole talk is that Rogue is going to be the villain in Captain Marvel 2 and will be introduced that way, which is kind of cool. So yeah.
The other thing would be is, again, pure rumors here. they were saying that mutants are going to be introduced through WandaVision as well, the whole X-Men universe. The two kids, I don't know if you know, but one of them, Billy and Tommy, basically become Young Avengers members. If you again, I read too much comics, but they're actually part of the Young Avengers down the track. And you know, in
We've got
Ant-Man,
yep, and you got Hawkeye coming out. You've got with
Ant-Man's daughter.
Yep.
I can't remember her name now, but you've got they're setting the members up again. It's brilliant.
Yes. They're very the long-term vision that they've had and how they introduce characters has been absolutely phenomenal. And you know, it's been quite good to see that that's kind of been flown on into the Star Wars universe with the Mandalorian. You know, season 1 they just kind of wanted to set up the universe and kind of, you know, get a feel for it. And then season 2 they're like, okay, look, we can start now dropping in these characters, and then, you know, it'll be interesting to see what season 3 and 4 hold. So they definitely said season 3 is going to be delayed, and that's because of poor Tamora Morrison. He is in every single series because he's the face of all the clones. So he's in Obi-Wan, which is getting shot at the moment, and super keen to see Hayden Christensen back in that. He is in the Book of Boba Fett, which will be the next series that comes out and drops in December. So he needs to film both of those things before they can get back to Mandalorian, because supposedly he's still got a big part in the Mandalorian. So they've actually said the Mandalorian season 3 will actually be delayed until about that February, March of 2022. So yeah.
I don't mind it so much that the delay comes to Mandalorian, mainly because season 2 could have been the series finale. If it was the series finale, it's done. You know, all the plot lines have been more or less tied up. So before we move on to what we're going to talk about this week, I just want to make sure that we actually, and it might shock the chat, but we actually got organized. We actually did, and this. So, I know. So this week's mine. Next week is the Fractured Shards close. We don't know whether Dan's coming on to that one, but we're trying. You know, if he can, it'll be awesome if you come for the closing. We'll wrap up a couple of things. Then there's Mark doing his first Kickstarter. So Mark is a New Zealand guy who's currently living in Scotland. He's doing his first Kickstarter. We're going to help him with it. It's not his launch. I think it's launching about a couple of days beforehand, but we'll talk to him about that. 14th of February, though, it's Valentine's Day. So there might be a chance we just take the night off. So because we don't want to get yelled at too much, so we might take the night off of that. But
yeah, I think we should put that out there now that we block out that Sunday. If we can, we might pre-record something and just release it on that Sunday night. But yeah, we'll take that Sunday night off. Had we locked in the 21st?
21st, unofficially, we're going to talk to a publishing group in Australia. His name is Gary Della, and he runs the Reverie Production. So they, under that umbrella, they have a whole bunch of books and stuff like that. I think it would be really interesting to talk to another Australian publisher, especially one which has, I think, if I remember right, there's like 6 or 7 people who regularly contribute to that publishing house now. And just to see how that's building up. And I know, like, for example, and some of those people in there, like Ben Sullivan, have done work for yourself as well, Sean, if I remember right. And it's really good to see that. And then on the 28th, so taking us until the end of February, we'll have Kieran Jack doing his apparition. I'll say it's a homage, and I won't say anything more because I don't want him to get into any trouble.
No, it's not a homage. It is a satire.
Satire, that's it.
Don't get him into trouble, Stephen.
Satire.
Comic.
Satire. Purely satire. And he'll explain all that. And I'll probably keep my mouth shut about any the H word on the 28th.
Yes, but
Okay.
we'll be talking about the Phantom movie that night.
Yes, Billy. But I actually went back to watch a bit of it actually the other day. I was just watching some clips on YouTube. That it hasn't aged well. I have to say, the costume looks horrible. The costume looks. The Phantom. I went back to rewatch bits and I was like, really? Oh gosh. Oh, and last one, Shane might be, if Shane gets his act together for his pre-launch for his calendar, we'll bring him in sometime in March. So Shane, you've got 6 weeks. Get it sorted so we can bring you back.
We're putting you on notice, Shane Blast, mate. No.
Okay, so the project we have this week is it's my project. So yay! So I'll play the trailer. I just give the forewarning. She's very British. She's very steampunk. So there's a very heavy British accent. So I'm gonna play it and just I'll play it and I'll let you go. And Sean can full screen it.
Yeah.
And let me know if this volume doesn't come through.
Wordsmith is a steampunk fantasy adventure. In the next exciting volume of Wordsmith, learn the true meaning of the word honor. Is honor being brave in a fight? Or learning to face your fears? Victoria finds herself having to stand up for what's right. Is that honor, and can her words save her this time? Find out in this volume of Wordsmith, Fear and Honor, the world of Wordsmith has amazing characters, fearsome dragons, thrilling adventures, and lots of words. All it takes is a word.
Okay, I'm back. Look, if you can share the link up for me, Sean, I've got control of the screen, so I'm happy to scroll down. But if you can share the link into Facebook and in YouTube for me, it'd be much appreciated.
Definitely.
So look, I've been really lucky in terms of the support I've got, and I will say thank you to everybody who's ever supported me, mainly because it allows me to do volume 2, volume 3, and actually tell the story. Because a lot of my volume 1s, I try to make it as self-contained as possible because you don't know where it's going to end up. So being able to reach volume 3 for this one, wow, I'm just so happy that I can tell the story. If you notice, if one thing I've always done with Wordsmith in the front cover is I do a character dump. We put all the characters in, and it's actually really cool that the number of characters in all the front covers have always just been increasing. So you can kind of see more and more people are starting to appear on. I was actually really lucky, and we reached out to the X-Men artist. His name is Michael Shelfer. He also won the Tokyo Pop competition. He's done stuff for Domino, for Marvel. He's done stuff for Image, and we reached out to him, and he actually did a cover for me, and he also did a really cool Gladiator for Sean. So, by the way, what happened with that one? Are you planning to use it in Talos next time round, or?
Yes.
So yes, I was really like, so I love this cover. I love this cover too, but I also absolutely love this cover. If you like both, pick both up. The other thing would be is, um, if this is volume 3, but what I make it a really big point is the digital copies of volume 1 and 2 are available on basically every reward tier, and I think that's how I'm going to go forward with any new campaign. That the previous campaign, you always will get the digital copies of all the, every past volume. That way it's really easy for you to catch up. And Kickstarter's introduced something really cool called add-ons. So if you want the physical copies of 1 and 2, they are available as add-ons on every physical tier as well. So look, add-ons are an absolute godsend because it makes it easy to simplify the reward section. Show you some of the artwork. Look, I love PR's artwork. I think it's amazing. It picks up directly from volume 2, the gangs being chased down, and they find themselves in a lot more trouble. So the other thing is, I'll probably explain what the wordsmith does. So in this world, a wordsmith can craft a word, and it's usually presented as a present. So when you open up the word, it evokes emotions based on that word. So for example, this guy opens the word fear up, and it makes him afraid. But there's different ways people react to words. For example, one of the concepts is that fear is actually bravery, because being brave isn't acting strong or acting tough. Being brave is acting in spite of fear. If you're not afraid, you can't be brave. If it doesn't scare you, you're not being brave doing it. You only can be brave doing something that you're afraid of. And the other example I always give is the word home. For what home could mean totally different things to a lot of people. Home could be, a physical place. Home could be a, family, could be the people you feel more comfortable with. And sometimes home isn't your blood. It could be the friends you made along the way and you feel at home with them. So a lot of the words have a lot of nuances to them. And so that's where the whole story comes from, where these words evoke various different emotions. And of course, you have to have your bad guy who needs to weaponize the word. It also, the other thing which in this volume is we actually explore a little bit of when Victoria was a lot younger and a lot more about how the world works. And I'll just explain this a little bit in storytelling as well. In the first 2 volumes, you more or less have to dive into these things happen here are the characters. Very rarely, in terms of world building, you actually get the chance to dig a little bit deeper. But in volume 3, you get that little bit more of a payoff to go, hey, guess what? I'm going to spend a bit of the volume to explain a lot of things that haven't really been explained through. So look, I've had a lot of fun with this. You get to meet Sparky when he's young. You get to see the cookies, their love of sweets, and you get to, I don't know, I love it. You get to see a lot of these really cute scenes where Sparky shares a cookie.
Chris had a really good question. She said,
Yeah.
when you set up a comic Kickstarter, is the work only available through Kickstarter, or does the Kickstarter allow you to do a print run and then sell out with the Kickstarter too?
So Kickstarter doesn't have something that Indiegogo has. So Indiegogo is another crowdfunding platform. Indiegogo has something called In Demand, which basically means when the campaign ends, you can still use it as an online store. Kickstarter is a project that kind of ends and finishes. The good thing about it, though, is, and this is something that's available basically in all Comics2Movie books as well, is once the Kickstarter is finished, we all go to distribution anyway. So if you want all XCT books or all XCT graphic novels, it's on Book Depository, Amazon, Booktopia, basically any online retailer, it's there. It's also available from all bookshops and stuff like that. So we've been very lucky that we've been able to do that, or at Sean's website as well. So
yeah, so you get what they call, Chris, an ISBN, and that will allow you to order it from any of those places. So once the product is ready, we will usually post on social media. We'll make announcements on the live stream and that type of stuff to say that the book is available. And then if you don't purchase it on the Kickstarter, you'll be able to get it to those other places. Now, the big difference is the rewards and the extra stuff that you get by backing the Kickstarter. You know, Stephen, you were just saying before that with this, you're able to you're giving Volume 1 and Volume 2 to every single tier level. If you get that from a bookstore or something like that, you don't get those extra things. You only get that through the Kickstarter. So that is the really good and unique thing about Kickstarter, is that you were able to give those people that support the project from the beginning a lot more.
Oh, definitely. And so we'll run through the rewards just a little bit more. Again, like Sean said, the digital copy is on every reward tier. So if anybody jumps in, guess what? You've got Volume 1 and 2 straight away. And if you want the print copies of the previous ones, it's available as add-ons. So just look, I'll run through this really quickly, but just really quickly, you get the PDF, the main cover, there's an art print, the variant cover, both covers, the original sketch, which I'll touch on, and get drawn in. I've also got 2 original pieces of artwork, which is basically the cover and the Michael Schaffer artwork. So look, I'm a little bit sad to let both of them go, but but you do what you have to do sometimes. The good thing about the PDF pack, and this is something which I hope it excites a lot of people, it's not going to end here. I promise you that I think with Transhuman, I gave up at the end of it, if you do the page count, something like 400 or close to 500 pages of story just with the PDFs. That's huge. Like even these 3 books alone, you're looking at about 180 pages of story already. So we've got 2 titles which we are basically giving away, Boston Metaphysical and Like Father, Like Daughter. As the rewards come through, I promise you, before the end of it, you'll get the stack of PDFs. You'll get so much reading to do. You'll be going, man, I've got a lot to read, and we try to make a good value for you. So you got a lot of good reading out of it. You get to choose between the covers, and I like this. Sorry,
I said thanks,
Mark. Thanks, Mark. And you're coming on not next week, the week after. So we're really happy to bring you on as well. I'll just answer Mark's question. The reason that there isn't an option just for the PDF for 3 is because 1 and 2 is given on every tier, even the PDF tier. So it's kind of, you know what, you get everything. So for people who have backed in the past, look, thank you, but it's not penalizing you. It's basically rewarding more people, and that's something which I have to freely admit. In my past campaigns, I haven't done well. My PDF tiers have just been, here's 1 PDF, and I think that's not enough. That's how I think with Sean's campaign, when we do a PDF tier, I want to give 500 plus pages of digital reading, and I'm really glad to be able to do so. That's one of the big things. So think of the PDF tier not as, how come there's no option just for the 1? Think of it as, hey, look at all the other stuff you're getting. I hope that makes sense. So you're not being penalized. You're actually more people are being rewarded with more comics, basically. You get this really cool card. I love these trading cards. I know Sean loves his bookmarks, but the trading cards I love. So I
really
knew
you were going to throw that in. I knew you were going to throw that in.
I know. But and for people who have previous rewards, the thing would be, and if people who have bought from me previously, I don't skimp on print quality. This is the highest GSM I could buy. The book is 150 GSM internal, which is double standard copy paper, 250 GSM. Look, I want it to last, and I want it that if you touch it, it's not going to break in your hands. So I'm not a newsprint comic book type of guy. I'm very much, hey, look, let's make it really glossy, really shiny. And the cards are the same. I pay the extra to make sure they are, they get the deluxe version. Hi, this is the print. I actually really like this because it took there's one person who drew that background, one person who colored that background, one person who drew the foreground and then colored the foreground. So to make this one print took 4 different people. So if you do get the print, you're not getting the artwork for one, you're getting the artwork from 4 different things. The thing I've changed up for this campaign is all the unique sketches that you get. The unique sketches will be A5 size, so you can see the dimensions there. But the cool thing about all the unique sketches will be they will have a little bit of color added to all of them. So I had a chat to PR, and PR said, "Oh, yeah, sure." So all of them will have this little touch of color, so that when you do frame it, it pops a little bit more. So I just thought, and the thing, I just hope you guys appreciate that a little bit more.
Moira wants a Lego character of Sparky.
Oh, I have to figure that out because it's a little dragon. But Maura, leave that with me. I'll try to figure it out. This is 100% my favorite reward, getting drawn in. I've always said this, and if you look at most of my background characters, they are real people. I remember a friend of mine, she was reading one of my books, and she went, "Oh man, that guy behind there, he's pretty cute." And I was going, "Yeah, he's a real person. Do you want to see his photo?" And so, and the other thing would be is, look, I've been really, really lucky with Wordsmith. It's in more than 500 public libraries in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Singapore, and the UK. So if you get yourself drawn in, I guarantee you a lot of people will see your little background picture and you'll be famous. I promise you that. Absolutely promise you that. And the last 2 things, again, I'm a little bit sad to give this up because it's an absolute one of a kind. This is actually inked by Michael Schaufler as well, so it's an drawn and inked piece. So I'm really hoping you guys, somebody picks it up because I'm sure you'll really like it. Creative team, I know Mark's used PR as well for this land, and look, he's fantastic. I've used Peyton for nearly all my projects as well. He's really, really good. I haven't announced any stretch goals yet, but just want to note, so the last volume 2, we got up to 334 backers, and I think we raised just over 9,600. Man, I would love to cross both. So if you guys help me out too with your support, sharing the link, bring it all out, I would I'll be over the moon if we could cross one, or if we even cross both goals. That would be absolutely fantastic. And that's really the campaign, really. So look, I know it's a pretty quick run through, but Wordsmith is probably one of my absolute funnest stories to write. It's how do you say? It's steampunk, and the one thing I do love about steampunk is the whole idea of invention, because steampunk runs off this. It's very hopeful. So Dan's Fractured Charts, it's a very, very different. It's very dark. It's very noir. This one, it's a lot more hopeful, a lot more colorful, a lot more bright. So it makes you happy. It's a really happy comic. So I do hope you guys do check it out. I'll stop it now, and I'll probably check back to Sean and see if there's any questions that I've missed.
So Chris said that she is backed. So that is.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
You've jumped up to 26 backers, and you're already at $1,500 on a live launch. And I guess that kind of leads us into that that comic tip that we're wanting to give away each time we do one of these episodes, and that's about how you can generate interest and generate some buzz around your project. And one of those things, and something that both Stephen and I have done from last year and will do moving forward, is that live launch. So coming onto our this channel or onto someone else's channel. Last year I did one with a group of guys called Crypto Comics, and doing a live show like this where you can actually interact with the audience, give people an opportunity to to ask you questions because, you know, as much as you've got a video on your Kickstarter and you write all the information in the Kickstarter, no one sells your work like you do, and having the opportunity to actually speak to your fan base and that type of stuff like this is I feel a really strong tool for any creator out there that's thinking to run a Kickstarter or has run a Kickstarter and is thinking of different ways to, you know, raise more funds or, you know, get off to a really good start.
Yep. And I'm going to put my backer hat on. So when I have seen a lot of I've seen quite a few of live launches, and not even live launch, like podcasts and whatever. And if the creator can the thing is, look, they don't have to be eloquent. I'm not the most eloquent, articulate person, but if they have a passion for it, an absolute, like, you know, you can look in their eyes and go, man, they want to create this story. Or it's like when you talk to Sean about Spartacus, you know, or Star Wars, his eyes just light up, and you know that's important to him. So when Sean talks about his XCT and Spartacus, you know, he loves that stuff, and he knows that there's a lot of love that's going into making one of his issues. If you can sense that from a creator, I'm always half tempted to go, you know what? I'll give it a go. I'll just click and find out. And what you find that, and I've been to other launches as well. It's a double-edged sword as well, because I've been to launches where you sometimes see the creators you just have a feeling they don't care. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's nerves. To be really fair, maybe it's nerves. Maybe it's they can't project that well. But sometimes if you see them and they're not excited about it, and it's like, yeah, just check it out, see, whatever, you don't get the same buzz. And I think that's where if you do a live launch, you need to have that excitement. And that's why I always say, look, you don't have to sell the book. You just have to be passionate about it, because I think a lot of people will help your passion. But if you're not passionate, like if you don't believe in it, why should other people believe in it as well? If that makes sense.
Well said. This is one thing that I think is a really good point, but I actually hadn't thought of that much until I saw this comment. Moira said it's actually good to see the creators, and that just highlighted a couple of things to me in my head. Is a lot of people will use their characters as their profiles, even on Kickstarter, or they'll have their company logo as their profile picture and everything like that. And a lot of the times people are backing you, and that's why a lot of celebrities do well on Kickstarter and everything, because people are backing them. Yes, they like the product, and there'll be people that like the product as well, but a lot of the times it's because they either like you as a creator, like you as a person, you've conveyed that love and passion for what you do, and they want to support that. But it is, putting your face out there, and Stephen, I always come back to you. You always say that you don't feel comfortable jumping on camera and doing that type of stuff, but that is, how, you increase that network and increase that, interaction with people and your audience and your fan base is by, getting in front of a camera like this, trying to speak as eloquently as possible, which, I know I fail at miserably when I watch these videos back, and I'm,
You're a lot better than I am. You're a lot better than I am. So, you've got to pull up Mark's comment.
So he said, I'm counting on an amazing mane of hair to pull in the hunters.
A little bit of context with this. So
Okay.
Mark, the longest time on his Facebook profile, had him doing the Fabio, the
Yeah.
Look, Sean, you can check. I know you're Facebook friends with him, so check his previous thing. And look, Mark, I'll say, if you do that, I'll back you. You've got my backing. Just flip your hair back and forth.
I'm checking it out right now. So because his one that he's got on now is like quite professional and he's
Oh no,
quite,
not that one, not the professional one. Go, see if you can find his old profile pic.
oh
I'm gonna
wow,
embarrass you. You found it?
There's a couple of these that are very interesting. So I won't pull them up on air. We'll do that. We'll do that in a couple of weeks time. So.
Oh wait. So before we bring Mark on, Mark, you need to have that whole gift because we're gonna have that on a loop for at least the first 5 minutes or so. Yeah. Before we share your link, we gotta share that GIF. So just get it ready, put it into Google Doc or whatever, so that we can bring it up quickly. But we need that GIF because you've taken it down, and I don't think Sean can find it anymore.
And you say it's even longer, so that's gonna. Shane's even that profile pic is a classic.
So you didn't say it. You didn't say it on his profile pic.
I didn't know. No.
It was a GIF. It was moving. You had, because I think Facebook allows you to have moving profile pics now.
Oh, yeah, mate. If I'm not posting my Kickstarter link, that's about all I'm doing on Facebook, and telling my wife to stop tagging me in a bunch of stuff. That's probably all I'm doing. So.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
He's not, Mark. You can get him. We'll team up against him. Moira won't be able to stick up for him. We'll team up against him when you're on, mate. Okay.
Look, we've done the hour. Look, again, thank you for everybody who's back. I really, really appreciate your support. And thank you for everybody who watches us talk about movies and comics every week. Look, we really, really appreciate it. It's fantastic. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. And Sean, I'll let you end it.
Yeah. So
listen to Moira.
Yeah, no, already. Stop picking on him. So just yes, if you haven't subscribed already, please click subscribe and hit that bell to be notified. We also, because we are prepared for this year, if you do have some questions about our comic tip, if you have a look at our upcoming live streams, in the comments it says what the comic tips are. If you do have any questions, you can actually make a note on the YouTube of those upcoming live streams, and we will answer any of those questions as well. But yes, we just want to say thank you. Stay safe to all of our friends over in the UK and internationally. We know there's a lot of stuff going on out there at the moment, so please stay safe. We're thinking of you, and we will see you all again next week. And if you haven't, check out Fractured Shards on Kickstarter. We have 8 days left to go, and we are going to give away a PlayStation 5. So yeah, hey guys, have a good night.